Hey, it's Sam from Sugar Spun and today we are making lemon poppy seed cookies. I hope you like a lot of fresh lemon flavor because the flavor of these lemon poppy seed cookies it's just unbelievable, especially when you consider the fact that we are not using any oils or lemon extract, no artificial flavor. We are using 100% pure fresh lemons. Now we're going to start by zesting these lemons. How many you need is going to depend on the size of them. I can usually get away with just using 2 lemons, but as you can see, these are a pretty nice size. So I'm gonna go ahead and start zesting this because we need 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon zest. Now, something to note whenever you are zesting a citrus is you do not want to go too deep into the surface. You wanna get that nice bright yellow layer, and I'm going to show you an example of going too deep. Zest it a little further. So if you go too far, you can see we have a nice yellow color here. This would still be good to zest. But then when you get down to here, this white papery layer, this is called the pith, and it's actually pretty bitter. We don't want bitter, we want bright, tart, sour citrus flavor. The pith is no good for that, so don't go too deep. Something to be mindful of. So I'm going to zest this lemon all over, and I'm not going to get rid of it after that because we're also going to need the juice. You know you're out of shape when zesting a lemon becomes an arm workout. Right, let's see if we have 2 tablespoons. There's 1. Oh yeah, we've got plenty here. We'll set this aside. These lemons had really thick skins, which was great. And for today's recipe, we're also going to need 3 tablespoons of freshly squeezed lemon juice. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze these. Okay, I can literally not read this, so time for me to get a new liquid measuring cup. Looks like we need a little more. Perfect. Oh, until I spilled it. So I have my 3 tablespoons here. You know, what I didn't spill, but don't get rid of the lemons yet. In fact, I'm going to finish squeezing the lemons and get as much juice out of here as I can because these cookies use a lemon glaze. So we're going to need lemon juice for that. And you won't need this right away, so to keep it fresh, just pop it in the fridge. All right, now let's start making our cookie dough. We're going to start today's recipe with 1 cup of softened, unsalted butter. We will add 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. No brown sugar in today's recipe because the brown sugar really bullies the flavor of the lemon, and it was so important to me that that fresh, natural citrus flavor shine through. So just granulated. We will add our lemon zest that we just procured, and we are going to use an electric mixer to cream everything together until it's light and creamy and well combined. You absolutely could use a stand mixer, but I'm just using my hand mixer today. I like to beat the butter and sugar together until they're well creamed. I like to get that zest nicely incorporated. This helps develop the flavor by beating it in with the butter and sugar as well. I usually end up beating it on high speed for about 2 minutes. All right, this looks and smells beautiful. So now I'm going to get our eggs. For today's recipe, we are using 2 egg yolks. We are not going to be using the whites. You can save those, make meringue cookies, or save them to make meringue. Ooh, make a marshmallow frosting and sandwich the cookies around it. That would be amazing. But do whatever you'd like with the whites, but don't add them to your cookie dough. And the reason for that is because we will be adding lemon juice to today's recipe, which lemon juice is a lot of liquid, a lot of water, and egg whites are also a lot of water. So since I'm adding all that juice, I needed to cut some of the liquid, and I did it by cutting the egg whites. This just creates a really tender cookie. I also did not want these lemon cookies to be cakey, so that's another reason we cut the egg whites out of here. Just save these for later. Ooh, make macarons. We'll go ahead and stir in those egg yolks. And then we will add our lemon juice, and this is 3 tablespoons of that freshly squeezed lemon juice. Oh, there's a seed in there I don't want in my cookies. Good thing that stayed. And we'll stir in the lemon juice. Now we are not adding any vanilla, we're not adding any lemon extract. The problem with vanilla is, just like with brown sugar, it will bully the flavor of the lemon. We want that lemon to shine. Now for our dry ingredients, you'll need a separate mixing bowl, and we start with 3 cups of all-purpose flour. We're going to add a teaspoon of baking powder and a half teaspoon of baking soda. For our salt, we'll add a half teaspoon of salt. This is just table salt. And we're also going to add 2.5 teaspoons of poppy seeds, because they're lemon poppy seed cookies, so can't make that without poppy seeds. Now stir these ingredients together until they're well combined. This bowl's a little small for a whisk, so I'm just going to use my spoon. I want to make sure those poppy seeds are well distributed and the leavening agents, the baking soda, baking powder are well distributed in the dry ingredients before I proceed. I feel like chocolate desserts always do so well when I share them, and anytime I do a fruit recipe or something with lemon, I always am a little bit nervous about how it's going to go. So if you're someone who enjoys citrus desserts, things like that, let me know, because it helps me decide what videos I'll make in the future. Now we will just gradually add our dry ingredients to our wet. I'll usually do this in 3 or 4 parts, and I'm just going to use my mixer on low speed. Our last bit of flour. All right, now it's important that you scrape the sides and bottom of your bowl. Make sure there's no flour hiding down there. See, like that, you don't want that. You want all of that flour in the dough where it belongs. This is also true if you're using a stand mixer. I find there's like a little pocket at the bottom of my stand mixer where flour just goes to hide. So always scrape your bowl. Beautiful. Okay, now here's the bad news about this recipe, especially if you're someone impatient like myself. The dough needs to chill. It is going to need to chill covered in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes, which is a pain, I know, but it helps keep the cookies from spreading too much, and also the flavor gets a little bit of a chance to develop. While the dough is chilling, you'll want to get your oven preheating to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, once your dough has chilled, your oven is preheated, we can start portioning and baking our cookies. Get this uncovered. Now I like to scoop these cookies into 1.5 tablespoon-sized scoops. And my dough actually ended up chilling a little bit longer than 30 minutes, so it's a little bit firm. You could just drop the cookies on the baking sheet. I like to roll them into smooth balls because it makes for more uniform cookies. So you'll want to space your cookies about 2 inches apart, and I like to bake mine on a parchment paper lined baking sheet. Another nice thing about this dough is you can actually make it a day or so in advance even, and it just lets the flavor develop even more. All right, let's take this over to our 350 Fahrenheit oven. They're going to need to bake for 11 to 12 minutes. Now, when the cookies are finished baking, you're going to want to let them cool completely on the baking sheet before you remove them and before you drizzle them with a glaze. While they are cooling, we can go ahead and prepare that glaze, which is amazing and just puts that lemon flavor absolutely over the top. This glaze comes together very easily. You need 1 1/4 cups of powdered sugar, and then remember that lemon juice that we squeezed earlier? You'll need up to 2 tablespoons, possibly a little bit more fresh lemon juice. So I always start by just adding about a tablespoon, and then I'll whisk this in just to gauge the consistency, and then I'll add more lemon juice as needed. So I can tell this is too stiff, but I'm going to whisk it a little further. Oh, and make a mess. Add a little bit more. This glaze is really pretty much foolproof. I'm about to show you the consistency that you're looking for, once I achieve it myself. But if you ever make it too thin, just add a little bit more powdered sugar. If you ever make it too thick by accident, just add a little bit more lemon juice. Very easy. I think we need just a splash more. So the consistency you're looking for is you want it to be nice and smooth. And when you lift the whisk out of the glaze, what I like to see is that it forms a nice ribbon, and the ribbon that forms holds its shape for several seconds before it dissolves back into the rest of the mixture. I don't want it to be too thin because it can actually kind of make the cookies a little bit too moist, like almost soggy if the glaze is too wet. But if it's too firm, it's going to be difficult to spread. This consistency is perfect because it'll dry quickly on the cookies and still have a nice bright lemon flavor. Once the cookies have cooled, we can go ahead and decorate them with a glaze. Now this recipe does make about 30 cookies. I only baked a few because you don't want to sit here and watch me bake all of that dough, but this glaze does make enough to cover all of the cookies. I would wait until they have all cooled and then just kind of go over all of them at once. Arrange them on your baking sheet and just go back and forth over them with the spoon. Final thing I like to do is I like to take a few more poppy seeds, and while the glaze is still wet, I'll just sprinkle them on top. And they will dry on that glaze, and they'll be so good. Ideally, you would let the glaze set completely before you serve or dig into these cookies. I'm not gonna judge you if you eat them while the glaze is still wet, because I'm about to do that myself. But that's really it. That is how you make these fun, so flavorful lemon poppy seed cookies. I wanna know if you try them at home. I wanna know what you think. Leave me a comment. I always love hearing from you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. All right, this glaze is not set, but I've never claimed to be patient. It's that perfect balance of like, makes your mouth pucker just a little bit. That's how you know you nailed that lemon flavor. And I'm so proud of how soft and chewy these are. These are not cakey cookies. Let me know what you think. It would probably help if I squeezed it in the right spot. I have no idea what that says. What's that? Oh, the cookies I baked. I even wore my special lemon shirt because they're that good.